President Biden is not the only one making an unannounced visit to Ukraine this week. A delegation of House Republicans also visiting the war zone. Congressman Keith Self is a Texas Republican and member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and he was a part of that delegation. He joins us live now. Congressman, thank you so much for coming on. I know that was a quick turnaround for you, but we appreciate the time. Can you outline to the viewers from your eyes what you've observed upon your visit to Kyiv?
Well, not only was it a visit to Kyiv, but we started at the Munich Security Conference. And I will tell you, the European militaries are absolutely together when it comes to supporting the war in Ukraine. My visit to Kyiv, along with the delegation from the Foreign Affairs Committee, proved to us that the Ukrainians are incredibly resilient, incredibly committed to this fight. Of course, as your previous report just said, they need the equipment to make the battle that they need to make. And we can discuss what we're going to give them, but I want to focus on their resolve, their commitment to the fight.
Yeah, we're looking at some of the video, or rather the pictures that were sent in there, and here it is now, of your visit there, obviously with President Vladimir Zelensky as well. Was it a welcoming meeting when you met Zelensky? And how was that received? Was he excited to see the committee there?
It was a great meeting. He outlined his priorities and the fact that they must go on a counteroffensive at some point. But as you've mentioned earlier, they need the equipment to do that. They're holding strong right now, but his priorities are to get longer range artillery into the fight so that he can take the fight back into the occupied territories instead of just defending more space. They need the ability to go deep.
I want to get your comment, too. By the way, $500 million in additional aid was announced by President Biden in his unannounced visit to Kyiv. That was one of those moments. Another big moment here is what President Biden had to say regarding Russian President Vladimir Putin and Russia's war following resistance from, as you mentioned, Ukrainian troops. Here's that moment.
When President Putin ordered his tanks to roll into Ukraine, he thought we would roll over. He was wrong. The Ukrainian people are too brave. America, Europe, a coalition of nations from the Atlantic to the Pacific, we were too unified. Democracy was too strong. Instead of an easy victory he perceived and predicted, Putin left with burnout tanks and Russia's forces in disarray.
That was President Biden there speaking in Poland with several leaders, politicians, troops nearby in and around that area. He also met today with the Bucharest Nine, again, NATO members. And Congressman, if I could just get your thoughts on this. I mean, the American people are seeing this. They're seeing President Biden secret visit to Kyiv. They're seeing him in a NATO territory, making an announcement there, speaking with several NATO allies. They're seeing Russia and China meeting up, a Chinese diplomat in Moscow now as we speak, and a reported visit by President Xi to Moscow in May to meet with Putin. There's a little unease here while Americans watch this rallying of NATO countries and the cozying up of China and Russia. Do you have concern about what's happening right now?
I do. This is moving fast. The Biden visit, the Putin speech, the visit by the Chinese, the statement that they are going to consider lethal weapons to Russia. This is now a proxy war between the West, led by the U.S., and China. The belligerents on the battlefield are Russia and Ukraine, along with the support from the Western nations. Yeah. But this is now a proxy war between China and the West, led by the U.S.
A lot to watch, a lot of moving parts, almost a game of chess, if you will. Congressman Keith Self visiting that area with the committee as well. We appreciate other committee members. We appreciate the time and sharing, again, what you've seen on your trip. Congressman, thank you. Meanwhile, a live look here of Air Force One. At any moment, President Biden here is set to depart Warsaw, Poland. He spent a few days there in Europe, and specifically these days in Europe, one that many will remember, visiting not only on unannounced to Kyiv, but also announcing that 500 additional